Hi.
Awesome. Hello.
Are you wearing your hacker hat? So, Chris, Mandeep should have sent you a spreadsheet, and that has everybody's websites in it.
Email?
Click. How'd you send it?
Click.
Unclick.
Click. Clicked. Got it.
Okay. So, we won't spend, you have a lot of websites on the list, so we won't spend too long on any one, but feel free to grab any site unless I have a volunteer of anyone that wants to go first for a specific reason. Yes? Okay, tell me the web. SuperiorHomeSupplies.com.
Okay. I'm going to join with my desktop so I can screen share.
Okay. And he has free reign.
Yeah,
Your spouse and your child did not build it?
I've had this website rebuilt by 2 different people on extremely small budget, so it's probably going to be a hot mess.
That's fair.
I've seen him make grown men cry. I just want you to know that.
Yes.
Dad, you're calling me out like that. You want my business? Just do it.
Bro.
No, I know it hurts. That's why I'm talking to these guys already.
What's the URL?
Superior
Home Supplies.
Homesupplies.com.
Gotcha.
I've done 11 days of these classes in the last 3 weeks and 3 webinars. I have a lot of URLs in my head right now. So, first and foremost, has anybody seen Key and Peele? Do you know what that is? Okay, you know they have Luther, the translator, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm going to interrupt Chris and I'll be Luther, but I'm going to give you the version you can understand when he goes down a certain path.
So embedded email addresses, especially when you have this mail to like this, not only is it plain text on the site, but it's also searchable here. Guarantee you're going to be getting a lot of spam there. If you're not getting any spam there, then you're not being found on the internet, even by the robots that are trying to spam you.
Okay, so translation is, when your website performs well and you're ranking for a bunch of things, having your emails present like that would cause you massive problems. So there's pros and cons. Yes, you want to rank for a whole bunch of things, but when you do rank, having your email in plain text version means that a hacker can say, show me every HVAC site with email in plain text that ends in blank, and they can get all of your emails, sell them off like crazy to advertisers, and then your spam mail goes up. Because you're in G Suite, you're not going to see as much of it because G Suite has the best filter for spam mail there is, whereas Microsoft 360, Outlook, and all of that, spam mail filter system is really low.
You guys can show me how to format it where they can contact us. We're willing to do that.
Well, yeah, or if you, yes. So we just want to say mail, and then it's called Malto, and that's what, it's a chunk of code that says this is an email address to a consumer who clicks on it, but not plain text for any robot that's got a cron job out there looking for it. Am I close to correct?
100%.
Okay.
I'm
learning.
Do I need to connect to Italy or Turkey, or did you get a waiver from him?
You gotta go for it. You're fine.
Full
waiver.
So should I just so I can do it for my house address, and we're not going to get flack later?
No.
Okay.
You're
So
good.
just to be clear, he lives in Dallas, Texas.
When you see any kind of activity, if you have a good security team and they're saying there's activity, it'll come from Dallas. Technically Plano.
Ooh, insecure. No SSL. I wonder if there's an SSL there. Oh, no. It's just not fully secure. So there's just components that are here being loaded that aren't secure. Not a big deal with my browser because I have it set to ignore, but a lot of your consumers, it'll throw up big red flags. So basically there is a blue logo that's insecure. There's a hardware icon. All your icons are being hard-coded to load off of HTTP, not HTTPS. This is called mixed protocol. You have some things being loaded securely over HTTPS, and you have some things being loaded insecurely. Creates big red errors on some browsers, depends. So it's like we have a 400 error One of the biggest deals that I see here, looking at the headers from the server, is y'all are using Apache 2.4.18. That's pretty darn old, and that's not even your WordPress or any of your applications. That's your actual server. So if you look for exploits, there's some definite security vulnerabilities for this, a whole page worth of them. So these are really, 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 really bad security. When it's a CVE, this is like a exploit database thing known by everyone. It needs to be fixed. There was a patch released years ago and you should apply it type of thing. And that's just wherever you're getting it hosted. So what I did was I took the exact, to discover what you're vulnerable to, I took the exact version you have down here that my browser is saying you're running, which is on the Ubuntu server. I love Ubuntu, by the way, just not old versions of Apache. And then searching for it clearly yielded the, several exploits for 2.4.18. So your web server is very vulnerable.
The problem with hackers is they're proud of their work and they publish it. So when one person figures out how to do something, the excitement behind it means that they go on to all of these different sites and say, look what I can do. And then everybody can.
Right. Or they're trying to be very nefarious. They're not going to try to hurt your website at all. Your website doesn't take credit cards. They want to infect every browser that comes to it. So they're going to be giving these universal payloads from these things called the exploit frameworks. Fragus is my personal favorite exploit framework. Fragus exploit framework. We're going to look at the images. So basically what they do is they install it. Once they hack your server, they install a little dashboard like this. See if I can't find a better image of it. But yeah, it'll tell you basically how many, try to zoom in maybe, how many browsers that you've infected. Like I've infected, and they call them frags. I've infected 73 Internet Explorer users. I've infected 1 Opera user, 4 Firefox users. And so it gives you a little bit of rate of how well you can infect your users that come to your site, because you know that while your site doesn't take credit card, the user will spend money in that browser. So that you're just a host.
So your site is e-commerce though. So you have 2 levels of...
Oh, that's real bad.
Right. You have 2 levels of security. So one level of security is an insecure website or server host gives hackers the ability to use your website as a vehicle to get onto humans' computers. And then the other one is they have the ability to suck the credit card data outside of whoever is coming to the site, which would be the e-commerce version of it. So you have the second level of security that has to be PCI compliant, has to have other kinds of protocols. You have to have a different kind of SSL than everyone in here that doesn't take credit cards online. It's a different level of security. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and realistically, I'm running it's an in the wild hacker tool called WP Scan. It's going to tell me if I can actually discover what kind of plugins you have, if they're vulnerable, and so on, to see if they're the application that's sitting on top of the foundation of your hardware is hackable.
Okay, hold on.
And
wow, un momento. So yeah. Every one of your websites hopefully sits on what's called a content management system, a CMS. Your website is sitting on WordPress, the largest CMS there is. Other CMSs would be Joomla, WordPress. What else?
Joomla, WordPress, Drupal, Concrete 5. There you go. Okay. There's a whole slew of them.
So you guys absolutely want to have a website that is in a content management system. WordPress is preferred for this size of business in this industry because it is the largest, most supported, has the most amount of developers working on that platform as possible, most lightweight and user-friendly. Now, a WordPress, as far as your website goes, if you're on GoDaddy or you're using Wix or you're using Yahoo Site Builder or Google Site Builder, you do not have a content management systems. Those are WYSIWYG editors, these little web apps that they're designed, it's a piece of software that's designed to sell 1 million times for $10. It's not designed to perform, it's just designed to sell it a whole bunch of times, a lot of times. That's their business model. So being in a content management system is an absolute thumbs up. WordPress is the greatest environment. Now, what you do with the WordPress, whoever's getting their hands on building your website, they can help or hurt you. So WordPress has a community of people that design outfits for WordPress. Designers. WordPress is a framework. Behind it, there are servers and databases and all of this stuff, what he likes to look at. And then there are people who build clothing for it. They're called themes. You can buy themes off of the internet for $35, $45. You don't
This
know.
one's using Divi, and I like Divi for the most part.
There we go.
Divi theme.
That's your theme.
Yeah, it's not that bad of a theme. It's widely supported. But yeah, that's the visual builder. The problem is with Divi, I mean, there's a lot of visual code builders out there for WordPress. There's Visual Bakery, Elementor, there's Divi, and each one of the biggest challenge I have with Divi is the sloppy code that it produces isn't super readable by search engines in all instances. So especially if you're trying to be ADA compliant, Americans with disabilities, because screen readers and other things don't really understand how to use the content. And Google's getting better and better at understanding who needs those elements. So as Jennifer says in a lot of her trainings, you become not an option by not being supporting those things. So digging into the schema, sitemap's not bad. I mean, the robot's not very well configured, but at least it tells you where the sitemap's at. So that's cool. Diving into the sitemap, it's like we have a sitemaps.org plugin for WordPress being used. Oh, no, excuse me. It's by Jetpack. Jetpack is by Automatic, the creators of WordPress. This isn't super bad, way of, let's see what the actual XML looks like before I say anything. Dang, this site's slow. Here, let me see if it's me real quick.
What'd you say?
Well, the website's really slow, so I'm just running a quick speed test to see if it's me, and it's obviously not me. Okay. So the website's real slow. Shot my account. About my HVAC videos.
This is no different than me typing in site : my website address. This is giving you the URL structure, which that is like walking into a grocery store. Your robots file says my store is open. Your sitemap, which is here, is a catalog system where you hand it to somebody that walks in that shows every single aisle and every product that's on every aisle. That's what you're giving to Google with the sitemap and a robots file that's your open door. Those are the two first and foremost requirements to be able to get indexed properly on Google.
Okay. Wow. Let's see. I got to see what's taking this so long. Okay, this will be fun. So let's just refresh. Because that is pretty bad. Okay. So it looks like your time to first byte sucks. So this big old wait time right here, see that TTFB, time to first byte? See that big long thing, 4.323 seconds? The user's attention span's around 3 seconds. So while I was sitting here waiting for it to load for demonstration purposes, 99% of people will leave with that rate. That's just data. That's just stats. So if we do good TTFB, that's good time to first byte. We'll see that it's between 100 milliseconds, maybe with dynamic content, AKA a content management system. So if you have a static HTML page, you can get TTFB down to 100 milliseconds. TTFB average for dynamic content, AKA content management systems, is 200 milliseconds to 500 milliseconds. Yours is about 8 to 12 times longer than that for the page load.
So pros and cons. If you have somebody build you a flat landing page with no content management system, it's going to load really fast and no one will ever find it.
More importantly, and this is when it comes to page speed, everybody's like, oh, you use Google PageSpeed to check your speed. Well, the only metric that matters in speed is TTFB. So there's lots of articles. If you just Google for TTFB SEO, that's all I did. And you'll see the same kind of thing I just looked at. You'll kind of see that basically Google will hate you if you have a slow TTFB.
So pros and cons every time you make decisions on stuff. A flat website with no brain, bad SEO loads really, really fast. A content management system with SEO and a lot of pages loads slower, but it shows up. Versus content management system loads really, really slow because some kind of mechanical error with the site or the server. Okay.
Now, this very well could be not your fault directly or the programmer of the website's fault. It could be your server guy's fault because it could very well be that your website's just already compromised. And sites using Apache, you have basically an 80% chance of already being compromised running on a server like that. The biggest challenges about your server being compromised is then they infect upwards towards your application stack, so aka your WordPress. So they will actually infect your code. So when you move your code to a non-infected server, then you're effectively still compromised. That's how I would do it.
So a quick positive route for you would be if you sent your the site to our security team to let them sweep it, and if they can clean it and then install it on a secure server, you already are a step ahead of where you are now. You're just changing your hosting and maintenance for your website. That's a simple first win. Okay.
Kind of really just going through it. Looks like they have remote publishing enabled. There is must-use plugins, but without being very obtrusive and pounding the server, I won't be able to tell you what the MU plugins are, which are like mandatory activated plugins. Yep, XML RPC is enabled.
So XML RPC, essentially, that's a remote publishing protocol that allows anybody to distribute content directly to your WordPress database and server, which that should only be turned on if you were writing blog content and emailing it to your web guy's email address, which is a remote publisher to your website. If you were doing that on a regular basis and your time benefit is it's easier for me to remote publish content to my website, then you might say it's worth the security risk. But if you're not remote publishing any content, no blog post directly to your website, you'd want to turn off remote publishing access because it's an open door for somebody to publish to the site. Does that make sense? Okay. And it's literally an on or off switch. It's not complicated or expensive or anything.
I liked your Facebook page.
Thank you.
Did he go?
Something good.
Yeah, this is that horrible code I was talking about, how that visual builder wraps everything in all these little boxes.
So that volume of code, the challenge is Google is a robot that's deaf and blind. So there is a crawler that's crawling your page and it's looking for text on the page. If the theme has all of these code blocks to try and make it do something like put in a contact form, or if a coder hard codes code on a page because they need to do something and are not sure how to do it, then it'll build a whole bunch of code. So Google, the percent of code to text ratio is too high. So if Google can't crawl the label on the bottle because all the packaging around it is too much, it's never going to find that you're trying to sell the bottle.
Is that because of the Divi?
Definitely. Anytime you use a $45 theme, it's going to come with a bucket ton of code, because the goal of themes is that it comes with mass amounts of code that make anybody who doesn't know how to code have lots of functionality, the ability to do lots of things. So a strong coder is not going to want to buy a theme off the internet, because they're going to want a clean site with as limited code as possible, because they need the site to load quickly, they need it to be indexed and so forth. It's just a different philosophy.
Not loading quickly.
Right. So we've made that mistake. In the first 3 years of our business, we used themes, lots of them. And when the developer stopped supporting the theme and they ran away to build the next theme because they're on to their next project, we had to rebuild every single website we ever built. When they stopped supporting it, they started to get hacked. They were vulnerable. They started to operate slow. So Google and technology devices already are going to have new requirements every 18 to 24 months. Having a theme managed by or built by Vladimir in the Ukraine, probably whatever, has a different connotation to it. You don't know who builds these themes. They're all over the world. So you don't know what's necessarily installed in them when you buy a theme off the internet, versus if you take WordPress and custom code a theme to the things that only you need. As a company, we do not use themes at all. We build our own, we manage it, we monitor it, we replace it every 4 months with new upgraded versions of it, and that's what we manage. We've been through that hell.
And there's a Pinterest plugin that's broken.
You're making a good
on the
list
site.
there, huh?
It's not vulnerable, it's just broken. And the site's going too slow for me to enumerate the users. And I'm brute forcing the author IDs right now, but it's just going so slow.
It's too slow for a hacker to get your login information, so you're good. I'm sorry.
You can't even get hacked, you're so bad. No.
That's so messed up.
They're gonna put it on the dark. What I'm gonna find out is I gotta take a snapshot of my.
We have the usernames. Username number 1, super administrator, his Danking, DANKING. That's his username. Woo login. Looks like you got some WooCommerce support in there at one time, because I know that they use that login. SSUPE user, and then MSTAHLMANN.
Those are the people who have access directly to the administrative area of your website. Do you know them all?
The last one I don't recognize off the top of my head, but if I were to read it, I probably could know. But I know who has access.
Okay. So what we want is we want to protect that information. We don't want a hacker to be able to get the user information. They have half the login already solved. So that would just be another piece of security software.
Right. The next thing is a dictionary enumeration attack. So this whole methodology of not telling somebody what your versions of stuff is, etc., is called information disclosure. It's the first, like, if you read a 101 hacking book written for Hacking for Dummies, I think has it in it, the yellow and black books. It explains what information disclosure is and kind of how to prevent it at a high level. But yeah.
Okay, good. We'll do one more. Does anyone else? Yes? Do you guys have the same, right? What's the website address? Ameritechfl.com.
Ooh, I want to keep that one. Ameritech.com?
FL, as in Florida. FL. There you go.
Fully secure website. Congratulations, you have the lock. Oh my gosh. And oh wait, there's more. Gosh, these things really bothered me, but let me tell you, they actually work. And I think they bother everyone, but they still work. What's the sign? For the most part. Okay.
Big chunk of hard code.
Let's just jump straight to the scanner so we can get this thing going. And let's get rid of Tim Thumb.
No. Yeah, that actually is a regular occurrence with local listings. We'll dive into that because that's very common.
You've had multiple marketing companies work on it, or somebody who isn't super good at Facebook, or they've added multiple tracking pixels. So you do have multiple tracking pixels going on. Definitely done by professionals, though, you can tell. You know, otherwise, most people don't know how to use a Facebook tracking pixel. Hold on. Ooh, you're using Yoast for SEO.
That's good.
Yeah. 27 results, not a very good footprint. Not a very big one, sorry. And it looks like your XML's site map may or may not be. And you don't really have a lot of revolving content. Again, hence the low page count. But the XML setup, right? So good from more of a security perspective. But that was fast. Within marketing is one of your first users.
You know who that
author.
is?
And then Ameritech is a login. So Benoctavi, and then Sam Uri, B Baker, Ben.
You know all of them? Okay.
All the plugins are up to date.
That's good. So that means you have hosting is where your website sits, and that's usually your server team. Maintenance is different. So if you get a hosting plan, you're only paying $10 a month. If you add security to it, now you have SSL. If you add maintenance to it, you're probably at $100 a month. If you add website administration, you're probably at $175 a month. The difference is, one is the servers in which your website is hosted, live server, dev site server, backup server. The security, which is attached to your website, which obviously that's a different team, a different group of people making sure that it's secure. The ones who are doing the maintenance are the ones who are updating all your plugins. They're updating them on your dev site. They're testing them before they deploy them. They're making sure that those plugins are accurate, not hackable plugin. I shouldn't say not hackable. They're relatively safe plugins. And a website administrator is the person you get to send stuff to, and they make changes to the site forever. Those are kind of the different people or groups in software that are related to your website as a whole. So domain, hosting, so domain registrar, hosting, maintenance, website administration. Yes.
So this is one of those things where the gorgeous site, right? And they're using a lot of the right tools. It looks like an agency did it, but usually a radio station or TV. I'm just guessing here. And why I say that is there's a lot of coding errors. There's a lot of issues with the robot's ability to be able to read the page, as you can see with this wave scanner. It's an accessibility tool. It's from contrast errors. Now, the issue with contrast errors, the biggest issue with contrast errors is Google thinks you're trying to do keyword stuffing. And then also, like this, it thinks you're trying to hide a bunch of keywords by shoving this content in here. These are contrast issues wherever you see this icon.
Those would be SEO violations. So radio, TV, and advertising companies should not be building websites. Yellow Pages should not build websites. It's not a good thing.
But you can tell though they're not trying to do SEO. I think they just did the SEO Yoast to dot their I and cross their T. But I mean, you gotta when one that it looks like this with contrast and whatnot, and it looks like there's not a lot of index sites. And the coding, it's not like they're really code. It really doesn't look like they're trying to attack search engines. It looks like they're trying to have great brand credibility. Again, why I kind of lean towards radio station. They're looking for somewhere to send people to, not somewhere to go attract people. Those are two different animals, two different approaches.
So if you pay for ads,
it's good to have a best of both worlds.
They're trying to drive them back here. It's the pretty picture you want them to land on, the landing site, conversion site. But that site independently is not designed or set up or structured to go get you new customers. It's not going to show up in that top 10 pages. Yeah.
Yeah. They're masking the WordPress version. They're masking the Apache version. I don't like Apache anyways. And from a design standpoint, and I was just curious, these are clickable now. Before they weren't clickable. Strange. Minor thing, when you click on, I mean, this is minor, but when you have social icons up at the top, it's usually not good to send them away from your page. So it helps to have these open up in a new window. So that way users can find their way back. Ooh. It's just not super pretty, but other than that, it's been finite. The inner pages could use some design love, but yeah. Anyway, I like the trust factor, 10 years in the header, but yeah, now when it comes to hackability, I would say you're one of the better websites that I've looked at.
For security. Yes.
I'll
Yes,
say that
what
very
is
often.
As far as propane, gas, and AC.com.
Oh, it's go to the spreadsheet. It's the one with the propane and gas. It's long.
Yeah.
And
Which
then
one?
it's propane, the one that says propane and gas. It's on this, look at the spreadsheet, and then also starts to see cavalry.
Or anyone that was done on GoDaddy, I just want to see.
GoDaddy's, it's like putting it, it's like building a brochure and putting it on the internet.
Wow, holy 1990s.
You can tell because it's so
That
skinny.
is from 2012. It's not even mobile friendly.
She said 2012.
That picture and that thing.
You have Pacer.
Yeah. We have a tiny little.
That's half the issue. It's not responsive. That's half the issue. The other issue is it wasn't made in the 90s. It was made in the 2000s, but it's understandable because this looks like an iMarket website.
Yes, it is.
They're a little bit behind that curve.
So it's missed two major upgrades. The first upgrade was mobile responsive. That was 4 years ago. The second major upgrade was mobile responsive's out, mobile first indexing was next. And that's when Gutenberg 5.0 plus, that's when PHP 7 launched. So it's got a huge window in between. Yeah, technically this site should have been redesigned and rebuilt a minimum of twice in the last 4 years.
Yeah, if you know, there's an evolution of web design, and you know, this is kind of like one of those missing link websites.
So it's not something you go fix. You just replace.
Yep, that's an overhaul. What is it using for? It's not using a CMS, is it?
iMarket Solution asked you to fix it?
Yeah, they gave me like a, admin at bars propane logo, and then I would go in and fix
All of iMarket that I've ever scanned runs 2.4.41, which means all of iMarket's websites, even right now. I'm going to actually hold it. Is this being recorded?
Yep.
You're recording.
Yep. Pause. So, yeah. So there's no point in having him dive into it because you can't fix how far back it is. But just build a new one and replace it, just like this. Almost, I would say, out of 100 dealers that have attended classes that we've done, I would maybe say one could we go in and fix a small group of problems, meaning that it was built properly, it's on a current theme, it's on a current version of WordPress, that everything is current and so forth, and we just need to tweak. Most of the time, websites are neglected really bad. So we don't as long as our clients are hosting and maintaining with us, we don't let them go like that. We're going to rebuild every one of our clients' websites every 18 to 24 months, whether you want it or not. We give our clients, we'll reach out, we'll say it's time for you to get a new site. It doesn't cost anything. It's we build it into our monthly hosting and maintenance program. It's called the Refresh. And we'll send a note out and say, do you want to participate or not? If you don't want to participate, then we stick to relatively the same design and we rebuild it on new technology. If they do want to participate, they get a new design each time we do that. But they just have to be rebuilt you got 18 to 24 months for any website. And if you hire somebody who uses a theme that's already 2 years old because they bought it offline for 40 bucks, now you're starting from day one behind the game. You know what I mean? So and that's what rookies are going to do is they're going to go buy a website because you can watch how to build a WordPress website with the WordPress theme. It costs $45. That's what they're going to do. But when was that theme built and how long is it going to be maintained? So that's going to determine the life cycle of your website as well.
Yes.
Know what I mean?
I completely agree with you. It's my number one issue.
Okay.
And so my whole goal is to find out what words I need to say to the boss in order for him to catch and fix it.
He won't come to the class.
They're like, yeah, you can do it because you're going to be doing marketing, in the near future. You're going to be doing advertising, which we do mostly newspaper coupons. That's it.
The worst thing any owner can do is think that the team in their office should be responsible for all of this stuff. It is the absolute worst decision ever. The reality is, mothers do not give birth to the human beings that need to do all this. The personality style of Chris versus me versus Mandeep versus a designer versus Mike versus Clay, we are not the same humans. I love the design element of it. Chris, obviously, he's the most experienced across the board at all the different pieces, but he's the only one in this room who can code and access a server and hack your website and do all of that stuff. Every human, well, we're close, right? Mandeep, he lives in analytics. He lives in Google AdWords. These are all different humans. Your job, if you work for an owner of a heating and air conditioning company, and you are responsible with some title that's called marketing, your job should be to be the communications and go-to person who's required for gathering and creating physical assets for the business that can be published on and throughout all of the different marketing things. Your job should be content generation.
Holy
like crazy. Content. Take pictures, write blog posts.
Get this, Jennifer.
Go for it.
They actually have a WordPress installed in a separate folder on the website under blog. And that WordPress is running WordPress version 4.9.13.
So you have two, and now you have two websites. That's two different installations of websites. That's odd.
Yeah, like 4 years ago, I started to put in some when customers would call us and say so-and-so did a great job or whatever to add to the testimonials. And that's about all I was able to accomplish because I don't know what I'm doing.
And you should never have two different installations. It's double the cost. You split your efforts in half, 50% of the value.
$90 a month for Time Market Solutions, and I don't think that is.
Okay, so for $90 a month, what you are getting is hosting, probably some maintenance, meaning they're updating plugins, they're checking on security. You obviously have an SSL certificate, so your $90 is valid for what you have. The site's just really old. That has to get replaced, and you don't have any budget going towards any kind of ongoing marketing or anything else. $90 a month, $100 a month, that's a pretty decent budget for 3 servers, your SSLs, for updating your plugins, making sure that the site doesn't come down, monitoring your ping time, your uptime. There's a whole bunch of technical things that you need behind a website, taking your backups and so forth. They probably have cost for servers. They have cost for probably some kind of updating system like managed WP. So they have a lot of costs. I would say probably about $40 of that $90 is pass-through money. They're spending it on something else. So they're, what can you get with $50 of monthly budget? It's just a matter of these sites can't live that long. They just don't. And so you would not want to spend $1 on SEO or marketing on this website because it's not compliant with Google's current requirements. Fix site first, then start thinking about marketing. Okay.
This is VT Design Works.
Do you know who that is? VT Design Works?
Vermont Design Works.
Don't know. What's that? Oh.
It just looks like that's who their marketing company looks like. They are. They put their stamp on it.
Do you pay any money to it?
Is that maybe the parent company by Market Solutions?
That's separate. So their
well, their website's nice.
VT Design Works.
Yeah.
So their brand, like when a web company builds a website, at the bottom it says website designed by blank. So your blog says that it was built by this VT Design. So maybe they bought a theme or something.
I think that was
Yeah, maybe that's who they outsource to.
You do? So
I think we used to have a blog.
You can tell it's custom coded though. So whoever did this typed in theme name, whatever, and it was this author. So
it's maybe
maybe it got
you hired
subcontracted
previously.
probably.
Okay, it might be a company they worked with in the past prior to iMarket or after or something.
Yeah, or I'm assuming that iMark subcontracts to them, honestly.
Huh.
When Gary got out of the gate, he started.
They hired someone else, another company, yeah. And that's tough because anytime you outsource, your quality diminishes.
Oh no. Oh, that's bad. I used to do that. That's bad. Oh, shut the front door.
I almost closed my laptop.
Where did that go? Okay, so so Jennifer,
Yes.
they took the WP config file that configures their server, and the programmer or whoever made a backup of it, but put a .bak. The problem is your Apache server doesn't know how to render a .bak. You know how the 3 letters on the end of a file, like a .zip, says you need to open this with WinZip. Well, the .bak doesn't know what to open with, so it let my computer download it instead of rendering it, which is bad because now if you look at, this is probably the worst easy exploit off of the day. So this is your database information. Is your database username, your database password in plain text. Here, make it bigger for you guys to read. So this is very, very, very legit.
Take a picture.
With this would allow me to compromise the whole server in about 10 minutes.
Awesome.
As all of your authorization keys, this would let me. Oh man.
Okay, make it where you can see the password.
Yep.
Wait. Scroll down just a little bit to the usernames and then hold tight.
Yeah, and then we take a
Okay,
Yeah.
pause and smile.
Take off your camera.
Okay.
Number 1 rule, take your camera.
Okay.
That's kind of a cool password. All right. I suggest changing it after this intermission. Wow.
Make my eyes water.
That's surprising. And you know what? I bet you that if I can find it like that, here's another guess. If I do site : and then I add /blog, I bet you Google's already indexed it or not.
Oh,
Never mind. Google's not indexing your entire blog. Look at that. Their entire blog's not being indexed.
So,
Yeah, because we haven't touched it in several years.
but here's the thing about blogs. The older it is, the better. So,
Yes.
so when you put
Already.
content on a website, the longer the page has been in existence, the more important the page is, which is why when you guys are talking about to marketing teams and content people or you're responsible for content, it's not always about going and writing a new blog article and adding the December news edition. Go back to whatever blog or page on your website that's been out there since 2016 and go update that content, because that page becomes more valuable because it's been around a lot. It's more important to go back sometimes, make changes to those old pages and existing pages to get those to rank than it is to just add one more new page of content. But you definitely want the blog indexed. Unless it was...
Like I said, you had me at hello.
In the class last week, a guy, he's a current client of ours, and he was sitting in the class and he did not want to be there. He was like, okay, I'm here. My TSM said I need to come. I've been a client of yours for years. He took his wallet and threw it at my table. And I was like,
Hey, Jen,
stop it.
I
You're
realize
gonna
this site's already been infected. So at what point, so look at this. If I view source, if you look at any other website, right? Like, I don't care if it's google.com. If you view the source, it's going to end in a /HTML right here. See how it ends your /HTML and shuts it off?
Oh, yeah.
Well, right here, if I view source on this page, I was wondering why Google's not indexing it, but it's very obvious. So right here, see how it says social LI, list items, Facebook social link?
Yep.
Their social plugin is broken because it's producing a 500 error. And I was also wondering where this 500 error was coming from. So when I inspect this and I click on the network tab and I refresh the page, you see a red 500 error. See internal server error?
Yep.
It's actually one of the plugins that's causing it to poo its pants and stop working entirely in the middle of the load.
Sorry.
That's not good.
No, that's a very bad time.
So I understand that this is ridiculous and it needs to
Yes.
about that. My only concern is we have that Payzer button to apply for financing and to make a payment through our website to their account. So is that infected now? It's
No.
like,
No, because all that is an image that goes to Payzer's secure page. You're fine on that.
Jennifer, could you imagine launching this site on a new infrastructure? Just imagine launching this with all these old archives.
You have
I mean,
a
all
killer
of a sudden
amount of
getting
content.
indexed and all of a sudden getting all that weight. There could be some fun launch strategies
So
with
how
that.
many pages? You went from like
it's
what?
150, I think, when
Something.
the site colon thing.
Yep. But that's not including the blog.
Yeah.
That has
Oh my
all
God. I
this
bet you
other
they were
content
getting,
on
I bet
it.
you years ago, I bet so much money years ago, they were getting so much business off the internet, they could hardly stand it.
So you're
Am I
you're
right?
coming to the table with the asset everyone else in the room is missing. Mass amounts of content and it's turned off.
Right.
1000%. Content is king. It's a very, very, very,
So the
known
beautiful
saying
part
in
for
our
you, the
world.
happy part. Oh, happy day. Okay. The happy
That's
part
a lot of
is,
value.
yeah, you in a good infrastructure, we move all that content into a well-coded, properly designed and developed website. Right out of the gate, you're sitting pretty. That is a much you're light years ahead. Right out of the gate.
They say content is king and conversion is queen.
Yes, content is king, conversions are queen. So then we design the site so it can actually convert.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean,
So all of this content's here. So here's the problem. So whenever you list archives,
Mhm.
this plugin that's putting these things down here, this would usually be a page filled up with pagination on the bottom with next page, previous page, and then your number of posts. But every archive, like the May 2012 archive, only has one post because it's pooing right here after the tweet. It tweets and it poos at the Facebook, what should be the Facebook plugin. So you can see how much potential content is here
And it's
if you do
2012.
WP JSON.
That is awesome.
Yeah, this is all the content that they have. Look at this, all this, and this is just on one archive. There's so much potential here.
Okay, one last site. And this will be really quick. It's a GoDaddy site. Cavalry, mycavalryhvac.com. And he fixed it on break.
Going to the chapel and
We
That'll be Calvary.
Calvary, yes.
My Cavalry, I can't talk. Pronounce it.
CALV
Cavalry.
Cavalry. Got it. Almost.
Almost. A swing and a miss.
I know. Hang on. I got it. It is.
Still have the wrong one up there. It's not.
right, never mind. But it still says business.
.com.
I found it.
Got it. Okay, I'm putting it in the chat box.
Negative.
Got it. Hang on. Second. It's in chat. Zoom chat.
I got it from the spreadsheet as well, but
Yeah,
it's
I switched it. I gave you a different URL.
okay.
That was a business site. We
Okay.
fixed that on break. Yeah, the Google's. That's bad.
Looks like the Mavs logo. It's secure. And it's probably fast. It looks like it's flat HTML.
Yeah, it's gonna be really fast because it's just like designing a brochure and putting it online. It should pop up instantaneously. And I think it's got 3 pages.
So really long. Actually, no.
Actually,
Yeah,
yes.
see, that's
it's
a
step
time to
number
first
12.
bid of 82 milliseconds. That's good.
So wait.
Well, there's no errors on the site. It's hard to have errors when you don't have much, right?
It'll be fast.
The fact that it's made in React is actually kind of interesting. Lodash. Wow, what great core code. It's really hard to say a lot about this. There's not a lot of content, so this is what you can be indexed for. Let's see if there's a robots file. Nope, it doesn't really have much of a robots file, so no instructions for search engines to crawl it. Empty sitemap. And it looks like there's a old one. Oh. Correction. Sitemap redirect. That's a redirect in sitemap format. Services, contact us, and the homepage. That's pretty much all that's there, right?
Yeah.
Not so the GoDaddy websites are in shared hosting. I would not mess with trying to hack this just from the not unless they actually do connect to Turkey.
If he makes the site go down to on GoDaddy, then you got to pay to have them help you to get it back up. It's not like and there's other websites that are sitting on the same server with you, so you're impacting more than just yourself.
It'd be really nice if they would introduce, like, I mean, look at this. This is a perfect opportunity for schema data, and it wouldn't be very hard for GoDaddy with. I mean, their code solution is, oh wow, it's React, but it wouldn't be very hard for them to add schema to this so that they could actually show up on Google Local with this crawl. So what kind of schema they do have?
Can you do a quick overview on schema, where it is right now and where it's headed, and then we'll wrap up and jump into the next segment.
Yeah, this site doesn't have schema. I should have looked for schema on the other sites as well. I'll give more in-depth review for anything anyone wants to do offline. But so schema has a way to instruct search engines exactly all about your HVAC business, and this is programming code to talk to Google. And why do we give this structured data? To Jennifer's point about Google being very, very dumb when it comes to reading and understanding, and it's getting exponentially better by the day, and eventually will be better than us. We get to control a lot of data, including service area and all of this information. But why? So rich text format. Rich text allows search engines, what we're looking at, schema, allows search engines to rich text search. On the search engine result page, allows you to have more structured data, an author picture. If you're a hotel, you're getting, this is what structured data looks like on Google Maps if I search
and
for
this is where
hotels.
it's for you guys
or
as
HVAC,
local businesses. This
or
is
HVAC
wildly
companies.
important for the near future. So you see how that has pricing? Make it bigger. So structured data is the data that is essentially showcased to consumers when they're doing a search. You guys notice how on your maps on your GPS, when all of a sudden you can see pricing for gas? Mm-hmm. That's structured data. When you can see reviews showcased under a business on a search engine results page, that's structured data. If you can see hours of operation, credit cards taken on a search result, that's structured data. For this, the day Google implements the ability to showcase pricing, I lost him.
This is the day they're going to get paid.
That's going to be interesting. Okay. Please tell Chris thank you so much. It just cut him off. He's gone. I should say bye. Happy you guys could meet Chris. But that's where he was going with structured data. It's actually part of Google's newest version of requirements with the mobile first environment, which everyone in here is missing that information.